Pretty Little Liars, the book series, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And the SAG-AFTRA strike is over.
Yes, with some caveats. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Would you rather just jump right in and?
Yeah. Give everyone the tea.
Okay. So from last Friday, from when this is coming out, that would be the 10th. Maybe it was on the 9th. But SAG-AFTRA, the board approved a new contract with studios or the AMPTP. So so what happens next is that it then goes to all the SAG-AFTRA members to review the contract and then decide if they want to move forward with the contract. Yes, exactly. So all the members
sign contract.
Exactly. All the members have to do that. And
Okay.
so that process will go until December. But because they have a new contract and the board voted to it, that means the strike is over. And so we're able to do this again. And going on their websites and guidelines was like, thank you for your solidarity and continue doing what you want to do. People are promoting their work. We can talk about things. And we'll get back to that in just one sec. But the part that's the sticking point at the moment is that while there are higher minimums for people, there's going to be a cut of streaming residuals or that'll be based on performance of properties. And that is going to go, it's like $40 million set aside for that. And so part of that money that is being generated is going to go into a fund that'll go out to a broad range of SAG-AFTRA members. The other part of that is going to go based on performance of the show and go to the specific actors and members of SAG-AFTRA that are part of that production. Okay. Originally, they were trying to put just all of that into a pot for that $40 million for just a broad range of people. But, you have studios want to segment that because then you have union conflict, essentially. You're separating people by capital. That, that's an easy tactic to do there. People are getting paid, and so they're less likely to want to rock the boat. The AI stipulation is where people are really concerned, and they might vote no because it's very broad and general with some of the things. It's you have to get, as far as I was reading, it's there are certain things if you do digital updates and things like that. It's really kind of hairy. We were having some camera issues. Oh, stipulations so they have to get their the actors sign off if they're creating say a digital replica of them, or they're going to be using them in other productions after that. So there's things like that where they have to get the sign off from the actor, and there's certain amount of payment that'll have to go there, although that seems a little unclear. But there's certain little digital updates that they don't have to get the actor's permission to do. Essentially, the more people or smart people that are a little more familiar with it is that there's really loose guidelines around it. And let me pull out the quote from Justine Bateman, who had an extremely being you need to strike this down, essentially. Oh, freaking thing. The train track is split. One track is going, okay, we're going to participate in this sort of negotiation with the cannibals, and we're going to talk about how you're going to be cutting my foot off, and are you going to grill it or boil it, and what kind of sauce are you going to put on it? That track is the one that includes generative AI. Generative AI is, this is actually according to the SAG-AFTRA, they put out infographics around this. A subset of artificial intelligence that learns patterns from data and produces content based on those patterns. So ChatGPT,
Mm-hmm.
able to simulate a performer's voice, facial expressions, and movements to create something entirely. So the consent required there is a producer plans to make a computer-generated character that has a main facial features like eyes, nose, mouth, or ears that clearly looks like a real actor, and they use that actor's name and voice to prompt the AI system to do this. They have to get permission from that actor and agree on how it'll be used in the project. There's nothing in there in the consent, at least. It's a little like vague.
Yeah.
Acknowledge the importance. There's going to be regular meetings around AI, which seems a little funky too. And then producers must notify the union if they create synthetic importers and bargain over whether compensation or any other consideration is appropriate. So compensation isn't guaranteed either.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, we'll see where the vote comes down. The tricky thing about SAG-AFTRA that I saw someone point out, which is was like, oh yeah, of course, is that there's a much bigger divide in terms of like economic background
Yeah.
than like the writers.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, because you have your like your big names, and then you have like background actors that are like just, getting their residuals or their, smaller thing. And those are those a lot of the people they want to replace with AI are the people in the background. So
yep, apparently there's already Disney shows, like Disney Plus shows that already have like those in the background. So, and because I saw people like I've seen clips of people pointing it out.
Mhm.
So we'll see what ends up happening. But at least for the time being, you can break the good news.
We are going to return to watching Pretty Little Liars. And thank God, I don't care who A is. I don't care. I mean, okay, the highlight of this, what we just read, spoiler. I mean, obviously, you're listening to this podcast, you're going to get a spoiler. That's what we're doing, is telling you what happened. Is that Ezra goes to jail. Like, great. Love
Ooh,
that.
great
He gets
one.
arrested. Other than that, I mean, I'm glad they had a source material to make the television show.
Mhm.
But let me tell you, this is one of those where the show is like leaps and bounds better than the source material.
So are you thinking specifically of Hannah, or you're just talking about in general over
Just
the
in
entire thing?
general, the whole thing.
I mean, off the bat, this probably won't come up in any other parts. Camp Mona is like leaps and bounds better than Planetarium. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Now that we can talk about the show,
we
we'll
can
just
compare
make
things.
more direct comparisons. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that we didn't, but we shouldn't have. We were trying not to, I guess is the correct way to phrase it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we dipped in every now and
Yeah.
then.
I mean, we also are a very small cast. So. It's about solidarity, but
Mhm.
and we love each and every one of you that are here.
Yeah, I think we were mostly all right.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't doing it on purpose. I just,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to navigate that of like, how do I compare this without saying it, or like not compare it,
Right.
But yes, I think all the characters are better in the show. I think the actors bring a lot more to these characters than what is on the page. I think Spencer's meltdown so much better in the show.
Well, may have to disagree just on the one premise that she's so fucking horrible in this. She pushes, but
Melissa
she
down the
steals Melissa's
stairs.
paper, and then Melissa just like gets in her face about it and pushes her down the stairs. So like, really, what did Melissa do? Just kind of be mean, and gets like her paper stolen and pushed down the stairs for her trouble.
Yeah, I just think that their dynamic is more interesting in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
as the show continues, like you haven't gotten to like where I think it gets like
real
really
good.
interesting.
Yeah. No, you're right there. There's but I thought like this part, I'm like, oh my God, Spencer's just awful.
Yeah, she's a problem in this. She has a problem in the show. She is a problem in the book.
Mm-hmm. And she also has a problem here, but it's a little vague.
Yeah, and it's like, why is she like? At least in the show, they're like, oh, she's doing drugs.
Right. That makes sense. It's like, oh, that's a good point, because it's like, oh, in here it's like, is she doing drugs and that's why she blacked out?
Yeah,
they map that back into the show of like, that's why she doesn't remember things. But here it's just like she has like rage no, it's not even rage blackouts. It's because when she got sick, she didn't remember anything.
Yeah, it's like she gets like a heightened emotion and then forgets everything for like periods of time after.
Yeah,
Just doesn't remember them being robbed and all of that. But regardless.
Yeah, you were quite right that there's a lot more flavor to the show. And I think also this is not to the point where even the show got good, which is like this is still the first season, where it is. The show moves so fast and there's stuff constantly happening, so that to have this like extremely glacially paced book series is such a strange contrast, where the show is just like bam, bam, bam. There's always something happening. A is always scheming. A is always doing weird stuff to them.
I'm very excited. So one of the years, because you have to think like we've had, are they in their senior year in the show where we're watching it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from this until, what is it, season 6, it's all one, like this is the world's longest school year.
Right.
Because it was just all their senior year. And so for the next years, because they couldn't do another Christmas or Halloween special, they do a Christmas special.
They do a Christmas special this year. Yeah.
I'm very excited for you to watch this Christmas special. Is it good? That's up for debate. Is anything Christmas themed good? I love Christmas, but like you watch your Hallmark movie and you don't think like this is a world renowned plot or story. This episode really, it makes you feel something.
Okay.
It might be discomfort, but it's something.
Well,
I'm very excited for it. But like, even with that, like, there's always an A plot. Like, even if it's like a little like extra episode, there's still like something.
Yeah. Halloween specials are always, they tie back in somehow. Like, even if it's not something super explicit, like,
yeah,
you get something there.
You get something. Yeah, we got a dead body.
Even the web series.
Yeah, we got Shauna.
Mm-hmm. And at least
we don't have.
Oh, no. No, we do not. That is maybe the one thing that the book series gets over, because I understand that Maya seems to continue living, and the series, the book series, doesn't seem to kill their gays at the moment.
Yeah.
Although it is not afraid of killing someone.
No, but it killed Toby.
Yeah.
Which like,
and
it's
I don't
like
think that really
I will
paid
say
off
like
in a meaningful way.
I do think with the show so far, the majority of characters that have died have been POCs.
Yep.
I think that's problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the book, it's all the white. It's the white girl. It's the white boy.
Garrett, Emily, Shauna.
Although, Emily.
What?
Garrett, Maya, Shauna.
Did I say Emily?
Yeah. It's like Emily's not dead.
So when you said Emily, like in my head, I thought I'd said Maya. So when you said Emily, I'm like, she didn't die. Yeah.
No.
Apologies.
No worries. Yeah, I think that's not cool.
No.
Just just vibes. I don't think that's okay. I don't like that.
I think the Fitz plotline in this is better too.
Yes, I agree.
And you know what? Why don't we get into the book?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, we're burning a little bit of specific things that I think we could just talk about in context.
Okay.
Since we know people probably aren't really reading along with us.
You're so lucky, whoever you are, if you're not reading.
Fine.
It is not. I could read I love to read. I will read anything. I used to read a self-help book called "If You Eat at the Refrigerator, Pull Up a Chair," not because I like had any sort of, I don't think it's a good book. I wouldn't recommend it, but like I was reading it at, I don't remember, it was like an aunt's house or someone's house. I was sitting there and I was bored. I was maybe like 12 and I started reading it and they're like, you can take it home. And so I read it. Like, that's what kind of reader I am. Like, the shampoo bottle is good fodder for me. And I'm reading these books miserable. I am miserable. I haven't been this miserable since I read The Great Gatsby.
Well, and I will say I bought the last one. So I'm gonna read it and then I'll come back in and check in.
Good for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, I'm completely bulldozing over because we won't do this for the next time. What's your final 3-sentence summary for these books?
I love how I came up with this segment and then I never prepare for it.
It's more fun that way.
I'm like, let's see here. Jingle bells, Fitz goes to jail. Hannah has a crush on Lucas.
That's your 3?
I don't know.
Jingle bells.
Jingle bells is my first. No, okay. I think Fitz goes to jail. Hannah has a crush on Lucas. Spencer pushes Melissa down the stairs.
Not Hannah thinks that she discovers A and gets run over by a car for
Well,
her
that's
troubles.
the same in the show, though.
I'm talking about a summary.
It doesn't feel as important to me.
That's true. It's way more
Also
gruesome when
because-
you have to read about it too.
But also because it's that miscommunication trope right there at the end. They hit you with another one of those, which is my least fucking favorite thing, where it's like Hannah's like, I know who A is. And they're like, Aria's like, it's Spencer. I'm going to tell Emily it's Spencer.
Right.
And then Spencer's like, oh my God, Hannah knows who A is. And she called me. So then Spencer shows up as Hannah gets hit by the car. And you're like, of fucking course.
But Spencer's like, the best part about it is that
She runs
Spencer's
away.
off in the woods. Yeah. All right.
I think she was already like at the playground or whatever they're supposed to meet at.
Right. It's like Aria sees her across the way and it's like, Spencer. But then it looks back over and Spencer's gone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So Aria goes to ask Fitz for an extension on her scarlet letter paper. She's finding Sean's house stifling. It's too quiet, and she feels like someone's watching her all the time. She breaks down in Fitz's office over everyone hating her, including her mom.
That's the other piece of evidence for why I think Sean is the creeper watching people through windows.
Oh, because she feels
Aria's like, I'm at his house, and I feel like someone's watching me all the time. All the girls feel that way, though.
Right.
But I think it's because it's Sean. There.
Mm-hmm. That's
Am I going to read the fourth book to find out? Nope.
No.
You'll have to tell me.
I'll let you know. Okay, she breaks down in Fitz's office over everyone hating her, including her mom, and hanging up on her when she called. Fitz tells her about seeing his mom kiss her cancer doctor, and then they make out. Aria runs out feeling guilty about...
It's the strangest, like, I was like, damn. Okay.
And he's like, I just never told anyone about it. Mom and dad eventually got divorced, so... Aria runs out feeling guilty about Sean and sees... like, you think I'm exaggerating? Like, that is like 100% what happens. Yeah. Aria runs out feeling guilty about Sean and sees that A left a note on the whiteboard outside of Fitz's office about Fitz and her hooking up and hinting that one of her friends killed Allison. The Hastings are out to dinner to celebrate Spencer and the Golden Orchid. The Golden Orchid is the essay contest that her stolen paper was submitted to.
It's the same in the show.
Oh.
This is a plot line in the show, remember?
I didn't remember this at all.
Oh, yeah, the Golden Orchid thing and like her stealing Melissa's paper is because...
Oh, I remember her stealing Melissa's paper. I did not remember the essay contest.
Yeah, because she it gets submitted and she's like, oh no. I don't remember what happens with it.
Yeah. Really impactful.
Did we already go past it or was it still happening when we stopped?
Oh, maybe it happened when we stopped.
Because she could have borrowed Melissa's paper while she was doing her drugs.
Oh, right. So they just like took it and didn't fit it back in. That makes sense. The Hastings are out to dinner to celebrate Spencer and the Golden Orchid because she's a finalist. Their waiter tells them that there is a potential stalker sighting at the club. Spencer asks her mom if she had memory lost in the past. And her mom says, oh, yes, when you were young and we were out in Philadelphia with Melissa, we got robbed. When we got back home, you were feverish and sick and spent all week feeling bad. And then after that week, you'd entirely forgotten everything, including the past week. Spencer freaks out and wonders what else she's forgotten.
When I first read that part, I thought they were saying that like somehow getting robbed had caused the fever.
Same.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, I don't know, like biochemical warfare? Like, I don't, like, what happened?
Right. It's such a random thing to put together there that I don't know what to do with. I don't understand. Lucas surprises Hannah with my personal nightmare and takes her up in a hot air balloon. They bond, and Hannah tells him the high-level details around A and her family situation. He tells her about how his brother tried to commit suicide, so he tries to keep himself always busy so he doesn't feel sad. He talks about Allison being the worst and making up rumors about him being a zoophile. He calls Hannah pretty, and she likes it. They agree to hang out since they're both not invited to Mona's party. Emily tells Maya she could no longer go.
Are you going to tell them what you researched about hot air balloons?
Oh, right. Well, yes, when we're talking about Hannah.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're saving it. Sorry.
Yeah, it'll just feed in there.
No, sorry. Apologies.
No,
Continue.
I appreciate you.
I was like, you did your research.
I did my research on hot air balloons because I was like, you're letting a 16-year-old like pilot this thing?
Also, like, in my mind, I know they go up by themselves, but in my mind, they're attached to something. So the idea that it just, like, goes over town, I was like, how is the hot air balloon going places?
So is the hot air balloon, they're attached to the ground, right?
I don't think so.
No, they just kind of float.
Yeah.
I don't know how you direct a hot air balloon. Well, okay, so a hot air balloon, if you wanted to get a, like, student license, so, like, you go up with someone else, like, someone else has to be there with you, it's, you could do it at 14. But if you want to get a private license, so you're not a business, you can do it at 16. So I was like, okay, I guess like Lucas can do this. And then if you want to be like go into business piloting a hot air balloon, it's like 18. Like, what the hell? I wouldn't want to do it. And he's also like, yeah, I'm like learning how to fly a Cessna next.
What's a Cessna?
A plane.
Okay, that's what I thought, but then I didn't know.
I think it's the propeller planes. I don't know specifically. I just
like
know
Duncan
that it's a
drove.
plane. I think so.
I wonder if that's where they got the plotline for Duncan from.
From Lucas?
Yeah, from the plane.
Cessna aircraft. Yeah. Oh, it's the one with the propeller on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what Duncan had?
I think so. They must. Yeah, I think you're right.
I only remember
pull
him
it from Lucas
because it's like
it's so weird.
It's just a point.
He just never comes back. But he's on my timeline and he's memorized there. Yeah. Emily tells Maya she can no longer see her and is going to do treetops. She's scared of living with her weird family in Iowa, and her family here has started freezing her out. Maya wants her to meet at Mona's party, but Emily says no. As Maya leaves, upset, Emily notices a note from A written on the greenhouse glass. Ian creeps on Spencer from the woods behind her house and tells her that Melissa heard her screaming at therapy. It's a useless chapter. Hannah goes to T-Mobile because obviously her phone must be broken if no one is calling her. I love this. Mona comes in and Hannah apologizes, but Mona doesn't commit to being her friend again. Hannah comes home to Wilden at her house and a package in her room. Inside is the dress for Mona's party, so she thinks she's been forgiving. She then resolves to crush Lucas's spirit over email. Spencer gets in her hot tub and Melissa joins her. Melissa complains about Dr. Evans saying, their therapist, saying she dates unreliable men and she thinks Ian was cheating on her in high school. Spencer remembers shooting Allison point blank with a paintball for trying to rat her out for kissing Ian. Spencer then starts to think empathetically toward Melissa and what ways Melissa has been shoved out of the spotlight with her parents. Melissa then says Ian will pay if he did cheat and hints that she already did something to the girl he cheated with. Aria stalks her house, missing it because she can't live there. John calls to ask where she is and about Mona's party later, but Aria isn't excited. She then gets a call from Fitz and hangs up on Sean. And goes to his house. They drink scotch and she tells him about her family troubles. She remembers Allison being excited about something at Aria's birthday months before she disappeared. Aria and Fitz agree to be together. Aria says she has to go tell Sean, but Fitz pulls her in and they hook up. Spencer's the article about Spencer's essay is up online, and the family celebrates by drinking champagne and playing Scrabble. Melissa gets a text with a snippet of her essay included, somehow remembers that this is a paper she wrote from 6 years ago and reads it aloud. Dad says, no, that's Spencer's essay, and Melissa's like, you stole it. The two sisters argue, and it culminates in Spencer pushing her down the stairs. Hannah goes to Mona's party at the planetarium. She finds that the dress she got is too small and matches Mona's party dress. Mona tells her to leave, and then all kind of comical mishaps happen. The dress rips, and everybody laughs at her, and then someone pours beer on her, and it's on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
And then Lucas comes over and helps her walk away. Eye roll. Becca from Treetops and Emily go ice skating and run into Becca's old girlfriend, Wendy. Wendy and Becca immediately hit it off, and Emily finds them hooking up. And then Becca's like, yeah, I guess you can't change. And Emily's like, I gotta go do something.
Becca's like my favorite accessory character. Like, yeah. Becca's like, of course it works. She's never believed.
And then folds like a chair, and then it's just like, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Just go be with your girlfriend. And Emily's like, I gotta go. Aria has a dream where a version of Allison is trying to tell her to clue her into something that's blatantly obvious, but Allie doesn't understand. She wakes up in Fitz's bed, screaming, and he soothes her. Then the police burst in the door and arrest him. She follows them outside and sees Sean, who called the cops when he got a text from A that included photos of Aria kissing Fitz in his office. Emily and Maya reunite, and Emily has all sorts of great character growth. Suddenly, her mom appears and forcibly drags her to take her home. Emily fights back, but eventually goes along with it when she sees her mom sad and distressed. She checks her phone and finds a text from A from 2 hours ago threatening to tell her mom about her and Maya. Whoops. Lucas and Hannah connect in the Hollis College reading room and make out. They almost kill an old man with a book when he comes in. Hannah drives home and gets a text from A. She realizes that it's not from a blocked number and knows who is texting, but doesn't tell us, the reader. Aria's at a diner with all her stuff, wondering what to do. She can't reach her mom, so she tries calling Byron, but gets upset when she hears Meredith in the background. She looks through old videos she took of her friends and notices how Allison would dangle everyone's secrets over their heads and wonders what Spencer was. She watches the video that was leaked to the news from the beginning of the book, where all the friends were looking into Allison's phone, and then Ian comes in with Melissa, and, there's weird flirtations. The waitress then is like, oh, I saw this on the news. Sad thing about her boyfriend. And Aria's like, who? And it's like, that guy, and it points to Ian. And Aria's like, that's not her boyfriend. And it's like, oh, okay. And then Aria notices their hands were secretly touching in a part of the frame.
They were like holding their pinkies.
Yeah, and just going beep, beep.
Or touching pinkies.
Mm-hmm. And then we're doing it just out of frame, so you can't catch us. She thinks Spencer...
It's so weird.
Yeah, and then she sees Spencer and Ian staring at each other. She thinks Spencer is then the murderer, calls Emily, and learns Emily is being sent away to Iowa. Aria tells her she knows who Allison's killer is, and then Hannah is added to the call and says she knows who A is. They agree to meet at their playground spot. Spencer dreams of the night Allison disappeared. She remembers confronting Allison in the woods near her house and tells Allison that Allison tells her that she's dating Ian, and she's like, I told Ian to kiss you. Spencer shoved her, and she hears Allison's head hit her stone wall, but then Spencer wakes up and finds she's locked in her room and can't remember pushing Melissa down the stairs. Her dad says that Melissa was taken to the hospital. Hannah calls, asking her to meet up, and Spencer escapes out the window. Hannah arrives first at the school and then sees an SUV pull into the lot, then Aria and Emily in another car. The SUV then runs Hannah over. Aria tries to resuscitate Hannah, and while Emily calls 911, Aria sees Spencer across the way and goes to point her out, but then she's gone. They then receive a text from A saying she knew too much. In the what happens next section, there's like a hint that Aria has a new identity in the next book.
Yeah.
The end.
I'm assuming it's like the reputation. Like, she was dating the teacher.
Right, yeah. I was just like, new identity? Question mark? So the things that were unresolved in that. So, I mean, obviously, A's identity, potentially Allison's killer, pointing towards Spencer here. But there's also, what doesn't really come across here, is this undercurrent of the stalker, that someone is like going around and stalking people in Rosewood. It's kind of brought up in the background, but not much really happens.
Well, and what does it mean? Like, oh, they're just looking. Like, is it like a peeping Tom, or is it like are they doing things?
Mm-hmm. You're right. Like, it's just there was a stalker sighting. What did they do?
Some poor person like getting their mail.
Exactly. Happened to be at the club at the wrong time.
I know. Yeah. So, who do you want to start with?
Why don't we start with, as we do almost every episode, let's start with Hannah. Lucas is actually much better in this.
Yeah, Lucas is so much better in this. Okay, I will give that. I think the show tries to make Lucas creepy, nerdy, like kind of like the nerdy kid that you almost feel bad for but don't, because then he does something uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Like kissing Hannah when she's asleep.
Yeah, that's weird. But in the book, he was a popular kid, and then Allison dethroned him, and he was just like, whatever, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like living his life.
Yeah.
And I think that is so much better than and he has like this backstory. We find out his brother tried to commit suicide because he went off his bipolar meds.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that he's actually like a fully fledged person and not just like this dark creature in the corner that sometimes is nice to Hannah.
Yeah. He's aloof, kind of a goofy dude. Like, he goes and he knows how to fly a hot air balloon, and that's like his idea of like taking her out on this date. Which is very, I think, very cool and romantic of him.
And he made smoothies for them.
Right.
He learned how to use the blender.
Uh-huh. And Hannah likes that.
Yeah.
And I think the part of him that he's in all these different clubs, like he's in the Magician's Club and like ESP and stuff like that, which sounds goofy, but he does it. He's like, I just like keeping busy because
so
otherwise
I don't ruminate.
Yeah, otherwise I feel really sad about my brother. He's not the same anymore. Yeah, it's really affecting.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
I think that is like a much better, well-rounded character.
Yeah.
And such like a short window of time too. Like we get a lot of Lucas in the show,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like we get that. And I think that would have been really helpful in the show, because then it would have, honestly, like with the Caleb stuff, it would have fostered like he wants this brotherly connection. Like I think that would have been really interesting.
Yeah. But he's kind of like angry nerd who doesn't get his affections returned.
Mm-hmm.
So then they just kind of make him Dark Lucas.
And then he's friends with Caleb, but Hannah's with Caleb, but he likes Hannah, and it's like, oh my God.
Caleb's staying at his house.
We get to come back to Dark Caleb soon.
Oh, right. Who's come back changed from Ravenswood.
And Hannah's got her darker emo hair. Oh, I'm so excited. We were finally at like the weird part of the show. Like this is when the show starts to like really like, you're like, The threads are pulling. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's parts that probably aren't well done, and
But there's just some weirdness.
yeah,
I love it.
I mean, nothing beats finding Garrett or Aria locked in the box with the dead Garrett. Like that's just like one of the best scenes in the show.
That is pretty big.
That Halloween episode is like 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
They didn't even need like the special guests to like make it interesting. Like literally, you're like, oh, it's Adam Lambert.
Oh right, I forgot about that. I was like,
It's like literally the least important part of the plot.
so weird. Hey, it's Adam Lambert.
It's just a way so Aria could write an A on the thing so that then
Oh.
and then that was, I feel like, big Aria's A evidence for a while. It's like she did it because how else did she get out of the carriage? Anyway,
right.
Back to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, let's see what else with Hannah. The dress, the comedy of errors. It's just like, of course we have to embarrass her.
It's big teen movie, but this isn't a comedy.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, oh god. And then the dress doesn't fit and the dress is way too tight on her, and she already feels horrible about her like body image, so it's just that much worse. But she's trying to struggle through, but then it rips when Mona tells her to leave, and then she falls over and everybody laughs at her, and it's up on the Jumbotron, and literally someone pours a beer on her, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, not for me. And then Lucas has to save her because
right, yeah,
you gotta have that.
You got the shining armor.
Yeah. Anything else with Hannah? She likes cheesy snacks. Me too, girl.
A few more things. So the Wilden seems
normal.
It seems like Wilden and Ashley are just dating.
Yeah, casually.
Because when I say he's at the house in the summary, he is literally just hanging out.
Yeah, and
he's
they're
even
watching a press conference that he's in the background of.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, baby, like you were look at that's you," like hyping him up.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of like normal to her.
Yeah,
it's so strange.
Evil.
No, it's just so strange. It's just comparison. Wait, where did we see him previously? He was in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, so there's an episode in season 2 or 3, I think it's season 2, where Lorelai dates a younger man that she meets at her business school. And Brenton goes, can you guess who that is? And I'm listening to the voice and I'm like, I know this voice, but I look at this man and I'm like, I literally have never seen this man before in my life besides in this one episode of Gilmore Girls that I've seen at least 10 times. And I could not put it together. He had to explain it to me. I even Googled it because I didn't believe him.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not Wilden.
Bryce Johnson is the actor's name. I was just like, oh my god.
He's got his like long young guy hair, his baby face.
And so it was just a funny like coincidence, like funny just change on the show. So then the other part where Hannah gets the text, and we assume it's from Mona because we have seen the show, and also it seems like a big hint because who else's number would she know by heart other than like it's her mom's, or Lucas, I guess. I don't even know if she would know Lucas's, but she gets run over by the SUV, and we don't know who it is. In the show, when she gets hit, we find out that she thinks that A was Noel because Noel was watching from the woods.
Yeah, because he was sneaking around in the woods. But this is during Camp Mona. So I guess they kept like that part too, that it's during the birthday.
Totally.
Camp Mona, though, you're right, superior.
So much better. I would much rather go
Mona
glamping.
is superior too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she's super fucking smart.
Yes.
And they really highlight that she's really fucking smart. And she like was able to turn herself into this cool character.
Totally. And I think, all props to Janelle Parrish for pulling that off, because there's a lot of crap with Mona in the show that it's just like, oh God, that I personally just have a strong distaste for. And I think that's the other thing of like wanting to read the fourth book. It's like, do they handle like the Mona's reasons the same?
Do you know what happens to Mona?
I know Mona dies.
Yeah.
But I just want to know Mona's reasoning for doing it. Is it because they aren't friends in the book? So Mona's reasoning in the show of you were taking Hannah away from me doesn't play into it the same. Obviously, that's like way outdated now that we're in like 5 seasons. But her reason at the time at the end of season 2, I'm curious. But I just also wonder if going into the fourth book, is it also just a dead end in terms of like a fake out of what Hannah knows, or does Hannah forget at the beginning of the book? Like, how is that
she like
reveal?
concussed and can't remember? Oh, I
Right.
bet so.
Or if it's just some other person's number that is like it's a fake out, but I don't
It's
know
her
who's.
dad's number or something.
Yeah, or like Kate's, but she wouldn't know Kate's. So I don't know. Open question on that one, but the other thing. And then a small thing that I remember from my notes is Lucas talking about how Allison just bullied on people. Called Lucas a zoophile. Toby had gills.
What?
Someone who's like sexually into animals.
Oh, they changed that from the hermaphrodite.
Is that?
It's still hermaphrodite in mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, why'd you say that earlier? That is not
that's
like
not right.
it's the same plot line as the show, baby. But I was like, well, maybe you just didn't, you didn't want to say it. And I was like, that's
no, it's just completely different in my version. So I guess that's the other coincidence of the strike ending is the fourth book is the last one that has version differences. But yeah, okay, that makes more sense that it directs her. Jenna was apparently called Snow.
She was pale.
Yeah.
On her snow.
Calling her Snow. Okay. Pot calling a kettle. What are you, Allison?
Big tan.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is the era of the tan. She's tanning bed tan.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
They're probably laying in tanning bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for exciting things there.
Okay. Emily.
Best part of this book. Also, would you be surprised that Emily has the least number of chapters?
Really?
Yeah, I went and
got
like
a lot
looked.
Of plot though.
She
got. Maybe it's because does she have more pages? Does that make you know what I mean? Like, are her chapters longer?
I didn't check that. I didn't go through and count, but I counted all the other ones, and everybody at least gets 10, and then Emily gets 7.
Emily packs a lot in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it helps that Emily has one plot line.
Yes.
Emily's one plot, and it's the same in the show, which is kind of infuriating in the show because she's just like, well, and it gets bigger. They do better, but I think I like what they do. I like that she's like, I'm gonna do this thing. I mean, I wish they'd wrapped it up quicker. Like, we took a really long time entertaining the idea of treetops. I mean, again, this is the problem with these books is I'm excited that things are finally happening, and I think Emily's stuff is the best part of this book again, but this is also second half of a book. This is just the second half of a story, and it's not resolved yet. Mm-hmm. Well, and now it kind of ends to where it's like, okay, well, her mom knows, but what's going to happen?
Right. We get, at least in the last way, it sounds like she is going to get sent away. And when she talks to Aria, she's like, I'm going to Iowa. But I guess that could also just be her
assuming because her mother found her there.
Mm-hmm. Right. But we're going to take a quick step back into Emily's timeline. And she has good reason to be afraid of being shipped off to Iowa.
Yes, so we last time we did this, I was like, who cares? Like, go stay with your aunt.
Right.
Maybe she's
what's wrong with Des
Moines? And then we learned about the family, and it was like she's got 2 older male cousins who run the cornfields every morning to get off their sexual urges. Her aunt told her she should only eat plain Cheerios because it'll help control sexual urges. Her other cousin does whatever else so it'll control sexual urges. What was it?
It is her cousin Abby writes down.
Oh, she's going to be a nun.
Exactly. It's going to be a nun and writes down everything she finds sinful and calls it Abby's little book of evil.
It's
so good.
That's not what you can do for Catholicism. Ask what Catholicism can do for you. Trauma.
Absolutely.
As recovering Catholics, we can say that.
So, I mean, reading these books too, that's why like it makes a lot of sense where I'm like, Emily's Catholic. Well, she's religious in this.
She is Catholic. Well, her aunt is. If she's nun, do you have nuns in other religions?
Oh, I don't know actually.
I thought only the Catholics had nuns.
Right. So Sound of Music firmly a Catholic musical.
I could be wrong though. I could be very wrong. I was raised Catholic, so I only know of one religion.
Yeah, do other?
I mean, I know of the other. I've never heard of a single other one.
Let's see what Google says. What? All Buddhist traditions have nuns?
Okay, well, these aren't Buddhist nuns.
Whoa.
That is very cool, though.
Yeah. Religious sisters. Blah, blah, blah. In Christianity, nuns are found in Roman Catholic, Oriental Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, Lutheran, Anglican, and some Presbyterian traditions. And then Buddhist as well. In Buddhist tradition, female monastics are known as bhikkhuni. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Take several vows, several additional vows compared to male monastics. Nuns are most common in Mahayana Buddhism, but have more recently become more prevalent in other traditions. There you go. But Abby's Little Book of Evil, it's so good.
It's so good. I mean, in a horrible way.
Oh, absolutely.
And she wrote down Emily's sins too.
Yes, exactly. What? There's a specific one on Emily's sins.
It's like walking too loud or something.
I
don't remember.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic though.
Emily kind of tries to stick her foot down with her mother, and then she gives up. We love that for her.
Right. Only Cheerios for breakfast. She wrote down. She recorded 30 sinful things about me. She even thought going barefoot was evil.
That's what it was, going barefoot.
Right. And I think it was great also in that chapter because that's when Emily's like putting her foot down and like, Maya, we can't be together and like things will be fine. And then it's like Googling, what I find very endearing is like, are lives of lesbians hard?
Are lesbians okay?
Uh-huh.
Will lesbian me be okay?
Right. And it is just like, what does Google tell me?
But then of course Google, it all shows up as like porn sites because
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Poor Emily.
Yeah. She then goes to hang out with Becca, Becca from Treetops, and they go ice skating. And Becca's like, "Oh yeah, it's fine being in Treetops," and then immediately runs into her old girlfriend who has rainbow laces on her skates, so you know what's up.
And Wendy is very out. Like it seems like her family does not care, or she does not care because she's like, "Oh, I was dating this other girl for a while, but it didn't work out."
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes. Much more out rather than like Becca being like closeted, essentially, and like being like forced into Treetops. And so Emily leaves him alone for like 2 seconds, then finds him making out, and then like Becca's just I don't know.
Becca literally is just like, okay, yeah, this is who I am. I guess you can't undo it. Sure, I'll cover for you. You want to go make out with your girlfriend?
Right, exactly. Like I'll help you out. So it's like solidarity. I just love that it's an immediate like flip switch. It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
I kind of thought that it would be more like Becca was like pretending the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And that she was still with her person. Oh. Like I thought it would be that. Like she was just like, yeah, I did Treetops. It's fine.
Yeah, I thought Emily was just going to slowly push her because Emily has all these questions and things to eventually being like, fine, right? But no, she's just like, yeah, I ran into my old girlfriend. And it's like, you know what? This isn't worth it.
Yep.
And fair enough. Is there another thing in here? So I think that's great. And so when she goes to, she's like, I'm going to go be with Maya. And Maya's at like Mona's party and they meet up and they like reunite. I'm like, yes, this is what we've been asking for. These books. Just character growth.
Yeah,
she's making a decision to then go do these things. None of the characters have like been like, I need to change. This is the YA. This is why you come to YA. She is learning, she is growing, and she's like, stepping forward.
You come to YA. I came so Spencer could push Melissa down the stairs. What a plot line!
An unexpected treat.
No, but seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very good. It's very sweet. Emily's the only one who gets character growth. Hannah's starting to get character growth with Lucas.
Yes, definitely. It's like, is like being popular what it's all about?
Yeah. What if I didn't have to worry about how I looked or being too big or, all of that? What if I could just feel comfortable with this person?
Right. Yeah. And it's
so sad. I mean, I'm glad she's finding it that young because the rest of us sure as hell did not. But it's so sad.
Oh, totally. She's still like taking those like baby steps where like Emily is making a full transition here.
Well, except that then she gets in the car with her mom.
She like folds a little bit. She's still like
she folds like a chair.
She sees like her mom look just devastated. She sees the glimmer behind the anger and sees her mom and is like, fine, I'll go with you. But it's not a step back.
No, but she's not quite anchored in herself enough to be like, you know what? You're allowed to have your feelings about how I live my life, but I am me and I get to be me.
Yeah, right. That's true. I think I was maybe a little bit more. It's still because she's still a child, and it's still
she's
her
taken
mom.
a huge step. It was not belittling her growth.
Right. It was just like, oh, that's like this is huge. Like moving forward. And so like because her mom literally shows up at Mona's party, which is terrifying. They just look over and be like, because her mom obviously got because A's a rat and ratted on her.
Yeah, A sucks in this too.
Sucks. Yeah, I was like, okay.
A has way more fun in the show.
Yeah.
A's like, ooh.
This A is just sitting around snitching.
Yeah. Boring.
Fill in someone's cavity with a clue, and then we'll talk. Really.
Go to the creepy place with the dolls and the little boy.
Right.
We already did that, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. The weird little like Children of the Corn boy. And her mom comes and literally like drags her away, and their mom is yelling at her, being like, yeah, so fucking what? And it's only when she sees her mom just absolutely David is like, fine.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Goes with her. Yeah.
Okay. Spencer?
Yeah.
We'll end on arresting Fitz.
Beautiful. Yeah. So Spencer's is...
It's not very interesting.
No, not the...
You would think it would be interesting.
Right. Because she's...
It's the most tied to the plot.
Oh, she's got so many chapters in this back half. I'm like, another Spencer chapter? Really? Like, they really back... Oh.
Herman is making the saddest little noises in his bed.
It's just like so much of like Spencer's stuff. I'm like, I just can't care all that much because it's all about her hiding about the golden orchid, and we just get multiple chapters. Sorry, not her, but it's ostensibly about her hiding, stealing the paper. But really what it's about is her thinking that she killed Allison because she can't remember the night, and she has like some weird thing that she unearthed in the previous reading that we did with Dr. Evans, where it's like, I see the last night where I'm getting mad at Allison, but then I don't remember what happens. So it's just like all about like repressed memories and things.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't resolve until the end. And even then it's a little vague. But there are just those nuggets of information that are dropped in here that you're just like, what?
Uh-huh.
Like we talked about her losing the memory of getting robbed and
as
like...
a child, and then having a fever, and then and then she pushes Melissa down the stairs and blacks out and then doesn't remember it, and then remembers the alley thing. And
yeah, but why is again, do you have any conception or idea of why the fever thing, why the robbery it precedes the fever in that?
I think it's just two traumas on top of each other. So it was like two big things happened and her little brain couldn't take it, and so she doesn't remember any of it.
Got it.
I think that's like the narrative they're trying to create.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how accurate from a medical psychological standpoint that is. I have no idea. I don't know how repressed memories work. I personally have the burden of remembering every fucking second of my life.
I'm reading the Book of the New Sun, and Severian he's like, well, he's just constantly talking about it. He's the narrator, he's the main character, just being like, well, I have perfect memory, and I'm burdened with perfect memory.
I don't have perfect memory. There are things I don't
really
remember,
good recall,
but I have pretty good recall, especially like if it's something I did not enjoy. Unfortunately, that's what I remember best.
Yeah, as someone with not great memory, I don't remember. I do remember all the things I did not enjoy the best. Yeah. But it just doesn't. It's just like like a story structure or relatability here. It doesn't match the other two because the other two are like rage blackouts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like that you blacked out another time when you were younger. It's not even that you got like really pissed at Melissa when you were a child and like threw something at her. I thought it'd be something like that, but it's not even related there. It's just we had a traumatic incident.
Well, maybe that's not the full story.
Right. So there could be other things. Yep. Another downside of the books. Unresolved. So question mark, question mark.
Any other thoughts on Spencer?
I don't think so. Yeah. Like I said,
I love Show Spencer. Show Spencer, my little obsessive, too intense, hyperfixating queen. Mm-hmm. Love her. Obsessed.
Yeah, she's horrible in this.
She's awful in this.
Like the thing, like, she steals Melissa's paper. Melissa acts mean to her, and she gets pushed downstairs for trouble. Melissa, like,
Okay,
only...
Melissa says some real like catty. It's like it's the build up. You can see how it builds to there for Spencer.
But I just mean it like comparison to like what Spencer did is so mismatched.
I think also it kind of highlights like some sibling relationships, and I never had a sister, so I don't know, but the people that I do know that have sisters, their fights were very different than the fights I had with my brother.
Mhm.
They were a lot meaner. They were a lot more violent. They were a lot, they stopped. They weren't, no one got pushed downstairs. Maybe it's because no one had stairs. No, a couple of them had stairs.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone got pushed downstairs. I'll have to ask. But I do think maybe it's highlighting that maybe Sarah Shepherd has a sister and is...
She did have a sister.
yeah.
Does.
Yeah, she does. She has a sister named Allison.
Mhm.
Because she credits, or she like thanks her at the end of the book or whatever, and she's
Yeah.
like, she's nothing like the story Allison. And I was like,
Mhm. But
well, why'd you use the name then, Sarah?
I
If
could-
I was Allison, I'd be asking some questions.
Truly. Truly. But you make a good point of these extremely
always that,
hyper
like...
competitive environment that breeds this like
Well,
really
and there's
intense
this
rivalry.
Slightly misogynistic, fairly misogynistic concept too, that like girls fight dirty, that I think is pervasive in all of the books and the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not completely inaccurate, but it doesn't acknowledge the societal aspects that lead to why they fight that way. And the competition and the...
Yeah, right.
But yes, I do think it's wild. It's a lot.
And making just broad generalizations about women.
Yes. And sisters and girls and Aria?
And Aria.
Are you ready for Aria?
Let's do it.
Okay. So Aria has the worst parents on the show, I think. Or in the
God,
book.
absolutely.
Because on the show, Aria has some of the best parents. I would argue that Byron and Ella have their issues and they keep them separate from their children.
Well,
Byron's not.
Except when his problem comes home and locks him in the basement.
Oh, yeah. Well, but that's not fair. He probably, just because she's my favorite character in Center Stage, I'm just wondering if maybe it's because she didn't get the solo she wanted.
Probably not. She had some hard times with that Jodie Sawyer.
As a choreographer, you're great. As a boyfriend, you kind of suck.
Byron, as a teacher, you're great. As an adulterer, you suck.
Yeah, that was a lot. He was drugging Aria and put her in the basement. Who among us hasn't been locked in the basement by your evil almost stepmother?
And he was like going along with like Allison trying to extort him.
Yeah,
and
okay, but Ella's good.
Ella's great.
Ella's great.
Yeah.
Ella's having a time.
Yeah, just on the show, it's all the men that suck.
Yeah, well, Spencer's mom is not great.
That's true. Veronica is wishy-washy.
And Emily Fields or Pam Fields invented homophobia.
Yep. Got a car driven through her living room for troubles.
Ooh. But in the book, Aria's parents are like, Ella's like, don't come home. Okay, thanks. I won't answer the phone.
Doesn't answer any of her calls.
Yeah. Byron's like, oh, I want to talk to you, but like, oh, wait, hold on. I told my girlfriend I'll be right back to her. Like, what the hell?
It's Byron especially is a classic divorced dad stereotype of like, well, I think I just want you to come over and like we'll be able to, we just want to talk and like come to Hollis.
Yeah, come over and talk to me and my girlfriend. That it's fine. I've gotten that one before.
But Ella won't answer any of Aria's calls. And then when Aria's all sad and alone with all her possessions because Sean kicked her out of his house at a diner, she won't answer her calls.
Yeah.
And it's like, Mom, because she's like, my mom didn't pick up the phone, so she's gonna leave a message. And she's like, Mom, and
then it cuts out.
I know you're there. Like, can you I need help. Nothing.
I don't know if it was out of space on the answering machine, if that's what they're insinuating, or if it's that Ella hung up.
Anyhow.
So Aria's like, okay, you know what? You know what'll make me feel so much better? I'm gonna go fuck my teacher.
Can we back up real quick to
What
where
do you
she
mean?
goes? When she goes to visit him first, so in his office, there's a few things. There's a Hamlet quote written on the board. There's a few things of why I think the Fitz thing is better in this book, and not just because he gets arrested.
One, we're reading the Scarlet Letter, a much better choice
Yes.
than what are they reading in the?
Oh, I
There's
mean,
a
To Kill a
couple
Mockingbird, right? Is one of them.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Always about like forbidden love or
Yes.
okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's really pining for each other. Yeah.
Hamlet.
It is a quote just about like when Hamlet finds out that his spoilers for Hamlet, when his uncle killed his father.
You felt the need to get.
I thought of this earlier in the week and I laughed to myself. So I'm like, I'm gonna use this bit. And then
you rehearsed.
I thought of it, and then because follow on to that was in spoilers for The Lion King.
Oh, okay. Carry on. Thank you.
When he finds out when Hamlet finds out his uncle killed his dad. And so it's like, oh, villain, no villain, who like smile. The full quote. It's like it's a villain wearing like a smile. So it's like you like act like everything's all fine like amongst people, like even though you betrayed me essentially, which is a good one for at least pointing out like directly that like he's very charming and smiling to Aria, but he's definitely absolutely a villain, which I think is extremely important. Like you were saying, just compared to the show of like forbidden love in books.
Yeah, they really make it forbidden love and they carry that baby all the way home. And I do think what's really annoying is that the actors have such fucking good chemistry that you're like, you want to root for them because especially when you're around the target demographic, you're like, this is a true love story. They are truly in love. And then you're like, that's so fucking creepy.
And it just gets worse.
Which
is, and then it gets briefly better. And then I've heard the future stuff, it gets worse.
For the show?
Yeah.
So after the time jump, I think if they had saved a lot of it for after the time jump, it would have been better. Does that make sense? Like if they had been like, what if we revisit this
later
when we can make it appropriate, and they could have done the time jump earlier or something.
Right.
But that's not what we did. We did like 6 seasons of a will they, won't they illegal relationship. Or at least inappropriate. Depending on your state and his job.
Still being the teacher at least.
Yeah.
And then the Pennsylvania laws are a little weird. And he has a Happy Meal that he's eating there.
Yeah.
So it clues us in that Aria's like, oh, he's just a kid.
And she likes boyish men.
So I just wanted to point that out of the different
he offers her a chicken
there.
nugget, which means he didn't remember she's a vegetarian.
Right. Interesting. But now you can continue.
Where was I
So
going?
they were having a rendezvous at his house.
Oh.
His apartment.
Yeah, they were. Well, first and foremost, they make out at the school. So thank you for bringing us back here.
Right.
What? Okay, also, we know it's a private prep school, which is like amazing, but also hilarious because it's like they have their own little offices. I'm like, what? Teachers in high school have offices. Private school teachers, apparently.
I know. Outside of their classrooms, they just have their own separate little offices.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Where they can make out with students?
Yeah.
At least this one. Also, but you left the door open so A could leave a little note. I have questions. I have questions.
Yeah, someone just ran up and erased the whiteboard, put a little A.
A was running around this day at lunch. Is this a because I imagine it's about the same time with the Emily and Maya thing, just like writing on things, like furiously scribbling and then sprinting off. So A must not have worn heels that day.
No.
They make out, and then later, she goes to his house and she's like, I have to break up with Sean first, which good job, Aria. Thank you. Appropriate. Because she was like, oh, I kissed him and I felt bad.
Right.
You have a conscience. I mean, bare minimum.
But
also, she's a child in an inappropriate relationship. So there's a lot of
like, well, I don't want to also tell him about this.
Yeah. And I don't want to seem childish.
But she's also doing the thing where it's just like, if I tell him I don't have a house,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in an even more precarious situation because I have nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm. But then she decides she's willing to risk that and break up with him. So she tells him she's gonna go tell him, but then Ezra's like, "No, let you stay here, and we can have some presumably schmexy time."
Mm-hmm.
And then an assault charge should be filed, but not how it plays out. But what does play out is that the police show up after her nightmare.
They bust in the door like it's like Law and Order SVU. There's the police. The police like knock down the door like they're doing a drug bust, and then they arrest him. They grab him, and then one of the like officers is just like, "Is this one of your students?"
And then he's like, "I'll be back for you, little girl." But then nothing ever happens.
No, they leave out, and guess who's outside waiting? John. Adding to your stalker theory.
Yeah, I think maybe he's working with Ian on the stalker thing. You brought up Ian the other day, and so I was like, maybe.
Because I was like, is this where they're getting NAT Club from? Is like Ian also baked in here? Or is Sean running around being a weirdo with NAT Club stuff? And then they just map it onto Ian.
Maybe.
But I was wondering if it was the Ian. Because the part of this completely useless chapter of Spencer's where Ian is just in the woods behind her house and he's like, "Spencer, you're hot." Like, hey.
Another man that should be in jail.
I mean, exactly. So another thing that he could be running around stalking people.
At least he's not drinking glasses of milk.
Did add character.
It did add character. Yeah, so that's where we are.
Culmination, good stuff. So before we bid these books adieu, I think I've got a couple that we can go through here of looking at version different. So in chapter 20, they're watching I'm assuming this is the same. It's like toward the very end of the chapter. Something about the BBC office.
They're watching the BBC version of The Office.
Okay. Yeah, stay right there. Oh my God, something in my notes I forgot here. This is backtracking. But Spencer remembers Melissa had this friend named Yolanda who was like Melissa but 10 times more worse. Who made her play word games and wouldn't allow her to leave until Melissa peed her pants.
Yeah, I read that too and I forgot about it because I was like,
because it Melissa's not really much of a character, so it's like it's building that Spencer starts to feel empathy toward her sister. But let's see. Oh, okay. So chapter 25. It's the second page. In mine, Hannah's talking about like reading "Am I the Asshole?" in Reddit posts.
Well, hold on really quick. So first, at the beginning, we're at the T-Mobile. You have the T-Mobile in yours, and then they're looking at her BlackBerry.
This just says phone screen.
Yeah. He tries to tell her a new BlackBerry, yada yada. She's got to move the information over. She's like, "I have a hard copy of everything at home."
That's great.
What is she? Is it just like
she just got to back up?
I have a hard copy of everything at home.
So funny.
Her and Mona, is it what they used to talk about? Making fun of the "Ouch of the Day" column in Cosmo Girl.
Oh, that's great. This is laughing and making fun of the "Am I the Asshole" threads on Reddit.
The "Ouch of the Day."
Ouch of the day. Also,
it's like the embarrassing moment.
Right, I guess. And then later, I think there's without Mona. This is 2 pages later. Without Mona, Hannah felt like a great outfit without matching accessories, a screwdriver that was all orange juice and no vodka, a pair of Beats headphones without Bluetooth.
An iPod without headphones.
That makes more sense. Why wouldn't you just say like iPhone or something? Beats without Bluetooth, they don't work. I guess some of them are corded.
I guess an iPod without headphones wouldn't work either.
Or you could do like iPhone or something.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it doesn't work. It doesn't work here either. It's like that's what she's saying is it doesn't work. The metaphor was lost on you.
Yeah, but I feel like the Beats headphones with Bluetooth is like functionally.
Yeah, like it should be embedded in the headphones, whereas like you could walk away with your iPod and forget your headphones.
Right.
But then you can't play music.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if there's anything else. Kind of calm down in the back half.
Yeah.
Oh, there was like some star sign stuff in here that I wrote down. Emily talks about being a Taurus, and then Aria's birthday, it put her in April, so she was also either a Taurus or
Aries.
yeah, probably Aries.
Probably an Aries.
Nope. Yep. I think that's it. Oh, I also forgot the waitress at the diner was also named Allison.
Yes.
So at least that part's fun. But there you go.
Well, we did it, friends. We've survived.
Yeah. All right. So if I'm going to go back, because I don't even remember where we left off on episodes. Okay. We're going to be going back. It's probably going to be, we'll need a couple weeks from now. And, but we'll get back to doing weekly kind of after that. But it'll just take us an extra week to get back there. So look for, as we kind of head into busy time at work / holidays, episodes 102 and 103. So if we're going back to season 5 here, get the right. Silence of Elam. Scream for me.
Eddie
7
Lamb.
and 8. All our friends. Oh, I gotta remember a lot of the stuff. Yep.
Well, so now you'll really feel like we did when we watched the show, which was where they'd give you a bunch of information and then you'd go on like a 6-week break or like 3-month break where then you didn't,
right.
And we didn't always have access to the old episodes. So unless you could sit at home on the day where they were going to show them all in a marathon, you were kind of screwed.
Yeah. This was our summer break.
I hated it.
Or not summer break.
Or winter break.
Yeah, winter break. Yeah, it'd be running in the summer.
Well.
So when we're not doing this, you can find more Let's Plays over on YouTube channel, Burger Discourse. We're playing through Reach Into Memories.
Yeah, we
Kingdom
are.
Hearts. But you can also find this podcast on all your podcast platforms of choice. And you can also find us on YouTube at Dead Ends. Or on YouTube, it's at dead_ends. Dead Ends for all your audio podcast platforms. Give us, give us a nice rating, a thumbs up.
Nice
tell your
little
friends.
5 stars.
Subscription, yeah. Get people excited for getting back to the show.
Yeah.
And, we're a humble little podcast. Anything helps.
Humble. So little.
So humble. Yeah, exactly. We're just little guys. You wouldn't want to give a bad review to just such little guys.
We got a bad review. They're like, stop pandering.
Yeah. I was with them until these fucking.
They were really. I end the episode about 2 minutes early just because I can't. Well, we'll be here to make you cringe.
That's right. And find out everything.
We are. We're going to go back to the show.
Woo! Goodbye.